Ferus. Ferus, like I said before, on blue side, Diana, Alistar, and Blitzcrank going to be the first few champs out. Blitzcrank, I've been seeing a lot of Blitzcrank too in solo queue, and I'm actually surprised we haven't been seeing more bans on him lately.
Yeah, no, he is kind of an annoying champion to play against, and if they know that Muffin Cutie has been playing a lot of Blitzcrank, I know he plays, a lot of those aggressive supports, so I'm not surprised to see that actually. Then that would be something to ban out. Balls is also, played a lot of Malphite in the past, so they're going to go ahead and ban that out. Banning out Skarner as well, and we saw against CLG how strong Illusion was on Skarner, but they left open TF. They left open a couple of other champions that will be fairly strong, so we'll see how they decide to pick with that first pick.
I mean, I do like the bans coming from Ferus, banning out the Skarner after seeing what happened Game 2 against CLG. It just was not too much of an issue. The Kale ban, odd. Huh.
Yeah, and if it's something that they think that Balls really is going to rely on, then that's a safe ban. But getting the Jace for them, so that's going to be a really strong matchup regardless of what lane they work in. Jace is just such a strong champion, and we saw IG, they like to run that Jace as well, so they will get that. But Ezreal and Vladimir, so we saw in the past how PDD really likes that Vladimir, but Voyboy was actually able to beat him in that matchup with CLG. Voyboy was able to beat him in the 1v1 with the barrels, with Gragas, but we'll see how PDD does this game. And I mean, you saw how much AoE control Vladimir could bring to a team.
Yeah, Muffin Cutie grabbing up the Sona, and I'm sure he's looking at IGR now. He's like, they're taking Leona, but she's mine. What are they doing with her?
Give her back.
Give her back. You can't have her. Right? It's my, she's mine.
Yeah, but the Leona, it gives them a really great AoE-centric team, and Ezreal Leona is a very strong bottom lane.
Yeah.
So it goes with their play style. And then Nocturne as well. We saw how strong Illusion's Nocturne was. He played it both versus CLG Black and versus CLG Prime, so we'll see if they go with that. Actually, maybe going with the Shyvana, so a little bit change of philosophy, because we saw Illusion, he wanted to be extremely aggressive, but he went for a lot of ganks before level 6, and Shyvana's pre-level 6 ganks are actually a little bit stronger than Nocturne's, particularly if you run Exhaust. So we'll see if that's the case. But the Nocturne also gave them that ranged initiation, so they're going to lack that a little bit. But their early game is just phenomenal right now. They have a really great AoE team that can just instantly wipe the board with Mono Ferus if they're not careful. As a result, they already have Gragas, so he gives them a little bit of disengage. Jace can split a little bit, but we'll see where they go with that. They're probably going to want to go with like a Corki here. They could go with the Graves, but Graves would be a little bit scary versus that frontline AoE, considering that they could have that fast initiation on him.
But we've also seen a little bit of Sivir in the past too from some of the NA teams. So
and Mono Ferus in particular, they've played some Sivir.
They have, and when Atlanta was still on the team, when he was on the AD, when they got to very close in Qualifier 1, I believe.
Yep.
Sivir was part of the reason why they got there. So Sivir with Sona, I mean, Sona does give a little bit of the extra boost. So that's the damage is there, and Sivir scales really well. Draven, just scaring me for a second there.
You might go for it.
He's playing with my heart a little.
Aphromoo, his Draven has been really cool to watch in the past.
Yeah.
Going with the Caitlyn, though.
I like that. I like it.
You want to have a very safe AD carry, and they also want someone that they know mechanically they're really comfortable with Aphromoo and Muffin Cutie in that bottom lane. So they want to be able to take over that bottom lane, start putting some pressure back on IG. Caitlyn, it was really between Caitlyn and Corki. Caitlyn doesn't have the same damage output that Corki has, but Caitlyn's early game is phenomenal, and the range does keep her out of the Leona and keeps her out of range of the Vladimir, so she doesn't have to worry about, or Aphromoo doesn't have to worry about, that early pressure that those AoE fights are going to put on them. So we'll see what they can do with it, but they actually have a really strong poke team with the Gragas, with the Caitlyn, with the Jace, that scales very well into the mid game and scales decently into the late game.
And Twisted Fate being considered here for the last pick for IG. So Vlad, very ambiguous pick going straight up off the top. So he could have gone top, he could have gone mid, but with the TF being considered here, more likely going to be going top with him. And many parts of the Asian meta, TF is a very common ban. In many instances, the first ban you usually make. I remember Taiwan qualifiers, he was banned or picked nearly every game. So we'll see what IG does with the card master.
Yeah, TF is just a great champion overall, so that'll definitely work out for them. Right now, they're kind of, I'm not sure, I'm assuming they're going to swap up their lanes a little bit, because right now they have Zitai on Ezreal and Fulai on TF, and Fulai is actually the AD carry for Invictus, whereas Zitai is their mid laner. So
AP Ezreal, ADTF.
Well, they wouldn't run AP Ezreal. They would run AD Ezreal. But even so, AD Ezreal versus Gragas, that could actually be a really nice situation for them. There we go, switching it up. So just trying to see if they can throw Mono for a loop a little bit. But that TF will be a very strong pick.
And I'm looking at Muffin Cutie right now. I think he just watched the last episode of Homework because he's going to be running Promote on the Sona, which strangely enough was the homework last time for that episode. So they're looking to push. Caitlyn, with all of that range, can get tons of free shots, can get tons of harass in that bot lane. Plus, with the extra damage that the Q aura is going to be doing, that's going to be immense.
Yeah, and Caitlyn is one of the strongest pushers in the game, and she works very well with the promote, with her range. She can drop a tower very quickly. It's a more common lane matchup with a Nunu, and we've seen that from CLG a lot in the past, that Caitlyn Nunu lane with the promote. However, the Sona, it was a twofold thing, it brought a couple of things to the table. One, it took the Sona away from IG, and they know that IG really likes running the Ezreal Sona lane, but then also it gives them mobility and AoE for fights, so that'll be very nice as the game progresses, and you still have a lot of pushing power. So that's going to be really exciting to see. It basically goes along with their philosophy. They're not planning on getting kills against Ezreal. Ezreal's already a pretty safe lane. Yeah. If they get a kill on Leona, it's probably going to be done without having that exhaust. But not going with the aggressive summoners to go for those early kills. They just want to be able to control their lane, farm heavily, and push into the tower. So the cleanse will also protect them against TF a little bit. Yeah. But definitely going to be exciting to see, and what Mono and Invictus can both do.
And Shyvana is indeed going with the exhaust, looking for the aggression once you get in for a kill, wants to keep that kill, wants to secure it. Going to have very limited escape options, though, until she hits 6. If need be, Shyvana can Dragon Form out. And in the meantime, I'm going to take a look at the TF masteries here. AP, some movement speed, might as well. 2109, nothing too out of the ordinary there. Might as well take a look at Mandatory Cloud while we're also adding some mana regen to stay in lane a little bit longer. 2109, also getting to mana regen.
Yeah, pretty standard stuff. Nothing out of the ordinary. Probably some AD, some mana regen for Caitlyn actually, which is
extra Qs.
I haven't really seen that often, but not that big of a leap. 21 or 19 and 11, so not actually going for the 21 there, which can be very strong. But again, they're not going for kills, so
right.
That's very strong for
you also got
any sort
the
of
tower.
AD.
You have the tower.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so we're looking for turrets. We're looking for a huge push here.
Yeah, it is a big pushing strike, and they have to consider that Jace can 1v2 fairly easily. It isn't a very aggressive lane having the Ezreal and Leona versus him, but we'll see if he goes for that. Going with 25 armor pen, that's a lot of armor pen, yeah.
11, 12, and 7, so you also got the 10% coming in from the offense tree.
And if he goes for an early brutalizer, that could be really devastating. So that's going to be kind of interesting to watch.
Kind of funny. It's kind of how I build my Garen, just a crap load of armor pen and runes.
Fulai has a ton of mana regen on Ezreal, though, so he's actually kind of countering out Caitlyn's mana regen, too.
Which, yeah.
So that's going to be kind of nice.
Caitlyn didn't exactly full-on devote to some of that mana regen. 9, 9, 12
for Leona.
For Leona on support there, so nice little even split. Right before we get on then, AP, we got some measure in 21-9-0 for the Vladimir.
So nothing out of hand, all pretty normal stuff, for all of the champions. But we'll be able to see what they can do. And, there are some intriguing lane matchups. Gragas versus TF. Gragas is usually a counter to TF, but TF is fairly safe. He can range farm. He just has to worry about if Gragas is able to hit a barrel on him, or if Gragas gets an early blue and pushes him into the tower. The best counter to TF is always, to 1, engage on him because he's pretty squishy early, or 2, just constantly push him into the tower so he never gets opportunities to leave lane, because that's when TF starts to get dangerous, when he leaves lane. But then also, Gragas counters him out later in fights, because TF's fight potential is actually very strong if you can't get in range of him, and they have the Leona and Shyvana to protect for him, because TF has that spam ability with both the wild cards and with his pick a card. However, Gragas, because TF is fairly short range, Gragas can drop some barrels on him in fights and explode him pretty quickly if he gets the opportunity.
Yep, so we will see. We're loading on in. Trundle also going to be there in the jungle, and we saw Trundle actually picked yesterday by CLG Prime. The idea being that the pillars are going to be a major point of disruption for IG, but unfortunately just did not work out that way. There are actually some bad team fights being engaged just because Hotshot wanted that one pillar to keep someone behind and just could not land it. But here we are, game number 1. We are loaded on in. Ferus in the blue, IG in the red. Getting this one underway. Game number 1. Winner of this set goes to grand finals to play against Me Playground.
Yeah, and what Mono Ferus is doing right now is actually very similar to what CLG tried to do, because Trundle, the big strength of Trundle, a lot of people were questioning it yesterday, is Trundle's always been known to be very strong in poke and kite comps because his pillar can be very strong at allowing that disengage. And when you level up the pillar early, like Hotshot did, and then get cooldown reduction, so he was going for an 80 bruiser build as opposed, he was going for cooldown reduction as opposed to an 80 bruiser build, and getting that max cooldown reduction, it gives you great spammability on your pillar, which allows your team to poke and then get out of their retreat fairly easily. And they have a big poking team, but IG in the meantime, they are making their way up. And Xiao Xiao, what did he get first? He actually got the lance, so the Zenith Blade, not the stun, but he can still pull onto someone, and they are walking right up to the vision where TF can get that stun underneath over the tower, but they will back off. A little bit of damage from Ezreal, but not really an opportunity for a full engage. Mandatory
Cloud gets caught out by the yellow card and a quick Mystic shot. Not going to be too much to deal with there. Nice trap, nice cupcake on the ramp. So it's going to be dissuading the IG invade just for just temporarily, unless they all decide to just full on go in. Look like Leona eat the cupcake while everyone's running on in, but that will not be the case. IG, they are starting to back. PD needs to get back to base, back to the top lane. It might just chill out in base too for a second to get that 4th health potion with a little bit extra gold that he already has. Looks like he will be doing that.
Yeah, so we'll see where they're going. Caitlyn and Sono will be able to pick up the Golem here. There's not any pressure on them. They are going to try and steal this Wraith, though, so that's something that's kind of underutilized a lot of times. Sometimes you'll see it happen from the bottom lane. A lot of times, you don't use the ward, and so without the ward, it can be kind of a dangerous situation. But they grab that. That's a nice little boost to help keep them even. So if you look at Ezreal, he's actually ahead of Caitlyn as far as experience, so that Caitlyn won't hit. Ezreal will hit level 2 before Caitlyn does, and they don't have to worry about falling behind because they do have a kill lane. And if you fall behind on a kill lane, then you just really have no options there. So that'll be pretty safe. But he does have to worry about the fact that Caitlyn is one of the best laners in the game and has such long range for that harass.
Illusion has the blue and saved the smite, so he's looking for the quick red, looking for the quick level 3. Trundle on the other hand, Smithy actually also saved his smite. You got the Q coming in on it to Muffin Cutie, looking for the exhaust, and boy, Ezreal might be able to get that, but first blood actually going to be going to Aftermoon. Muffin Cutie, the ignite is not enough to take him out, and Zhao may actually also go down here, forcing out the flash. Leona needs to get away. Aftermoon flashing in response. One more shot, can he get it? Yes, he will. Very well done. Double kill for Aframu in the bottom lane to start things off.
Yeah, really aggressive play from IG, and the second Ezreal hit level 2, they got a little bit excited. They knew that they had the level advantage, and we saw yesterday that their bot lane was incredibly aggressive. They were looking for those early kills, which helped them to snowball that lane. However, they are counter-snowballing now, so Caitlyn a little bit ahead, and actually Illusion coming in on Mandatory Cloud, throws off the exhaust as well. The flash from Mandatory Cloud, they're going to drop him very quickly, so they pick up the kill in that mid lane, and the exhaust ganks can never be underestimated. It's so easy to pick up a kill with exhaust because you have enough of a slow to chase people down after they flash, and it's almost impossible to get away from.
And that's the thing too with Gragas. It's very similar, very early levels to a Morgana, where you have to think about, do I want to get the shield, or in this case, you want to get the belly charge. If you want that a little bit extra escape, if you think that you may be ganked to level 2, or if you can wait and try and pick it up level 3. And unfortunately, Mandatory Cloud decided to wait on it.
And actually, Caitlyn in this bottom lane
wow.
Is over a full level ahead, and they're jumping on the Muffin Cutie once again, but they're going to take a lot of damage from Aframu. So he is way ahead, and Ezreal, even though he went back, didn't have time to, or didn't have enough gold to buy any items. So there's no advantage for him going back into that lane. So, we'll see. But Aframu and Muffin Cutie, they are in a great situation to just continue to destroy this tower, and it's already below half, so they have a lot of pressure there.
Illusion isn't even bothering making his way down to the bot lane. It's just kind of like recognizing that looking to gank this may very well be a lost cause. He is meandering on down, though. He's considering it. Trundle's not too far behind. Smithy is there for the counter gank if need be. But Illusion, recognizing he got the kill onto Gragas earlier, may just try for your luck a second time around. You got the flash coming in. There is the yellow card from C-Tai, but now Mandatory Cloud can charge to safety. He will get to the tower, just eat up the ignite, and you'll be safe for a few more moments.
Yeah, so generally speaking, now that Gragas has a couple of levels, and as he continues to level, he is one of the safest laners in the game. So, yeah, Smithy just toying around with Shyvana a little bit.
Silly dragon. I know you're there.
But one of the interesting things for this matchup is that IG, in the matches we've seen, they tend to put a lot of pressure on the mid and top, but particularly in the mid lane. And so their jungler doesn't tend to focus on the bottom lane. They just look for any early advantage to allow that lane to, hold off on their own. Smithy kind of getting caught off here. They do have the stun, so they will get some nice damage. And he is dropping very quickly. Illusion trying to take him down. He gets the flash out of there. So not missing out on any of that experience from the race, but they almost pick up the kill. But Invictus Gaming, they've liked putting pressure on the mid and then the top in particular with Illusion. And he actually has been ganking a lot as a jungler, as opposed to getting those levels. We've seen that in the past. Nocturne, he delayed his level 6 to get a lot of early ganks out. However, with their bot lane behind, they might actually struggle to put the same pressure as they like on top and on mid, because their bot lane might be pulled towards the bottom lane with how much pressure Caitlyn and Sona can put on.
And even with the attempt on Smithy, that wasn't enough to make him full back. He actually still had enough health and still had mana to actually take out the Wolf's camp before returning back to the jungle. Zhao with the lance onto Caitlyn, does get the stun, a little bit extra damage, but not enough to get them out of there. But here comes the TF with the ult. Illusion is near bot lane also, and that's going to be a quick kill onto Aftermoon. Muffin Cutie is the only one here to defend against this potential 4-man push. Zeta is actually going to be backing here, but Illusion will be joining on the push. Meanwhile, top lane, you have Balls with the getting ignited. PD will take care of that one. Smithy with the ground and the pillar, looking for a little bit extra damage onto the Vlad, but we'll get to the tower just fine.
Yeah, but really nice play from Invictus to try and turn around that bottom lane with TF coming down. Aphromoo, because Ezreal hadn't gone back yet, he hadn't found an opportunity for himself to go back. So he has a lot of gold that he can spend and be a lot stronger. He actually goes for a BF sword, but because Ezreal hadn't gone back yet, Aphromoo didn't want to leave the lane, and as a result, it baited him right into that TF ult. He was able to pick up those kills very easily with Shyvana's pressure as well. So they are, looking for that bot map presence. But I don't know, we'll see how that lane kind of factors in now with that BF sword, because Ezreal, he went with the Dorans, which is actually a little bit better at like brawling when you're just fighting your opponent in lane. The Dorans, the health that it gives you will be a little bit safer, and with the burst damage that Leona and Ezreal have, Caitlyn will still be very vulnerable with only the BF sword, since she doesn't have a lot of HP. However, that being said, Caitlyn will have a lot of really great harass damage with both her, auto attacks, her build of her Peacemaker, and also her ultimate. So that having that BF sword will be very strong for just the slow lane harass.
Illusion sweeping in to check on the blue, was pinged out and will get out of there. But also, we got to give a little bit of attention to Balls here, too, versus PD in the top lane. Vlad going for the cooldown reduction build, does have the Revolver and the Lucidity boots. But Balls, though, he's fallen behind quite a little bit. Adding the kill onto everything, that's a total about 30 creeps behind. So Balls has he's got some room to make up here.
Yeah, and that's kind of surprising to fall behind Jace versus Vlad, because Vlad is generally very vulnerable to AD carries and bruisers with hard initiation. That's what Jace is. He's both. So Jace, with the range harass, you would normally expect that he's going to be able to beat Vlad and then be able to jump on him in bruiser state. But maybe kind of the fact that he's a jack of all trades, master of none, doesn't quite allow him to abuse Vladimir like you would expect. And PDD's actually been able to turn that lane around pretty effectively. So that's kind of a dangerous situation for Mono Ferus if they can't get that pressure. But in the meantime, another TF port. He gets the red card, though. No yellow, so they will be safe. Shyvana was here as well. So that follow-up, if Zhao Zhao was level 6, could have been devastating. But fortunately, Aphromoo and Muffin Cutie are able to back off.
Even if it was a yellow, Aphromoo was pretty safe at tower range. But Illusion with the exhaust down on to Muffin Cutie. He will melt immediately. Aphromoo is also exhausted. He cannot take all of this pressure underneath the tower. And Ezreal will be picking up a double kill for himself. A little bit of revenge for the first 2 kills of the game. The Ezreal ult, gotta grab that one minion with that ult, allow the lane to push. Smithy's gonna take up all of this farm, but in the meantime though, Mandatory Cloud, he's been putting some damage onto the mid turret, is gonna be at about half. He's getting an opportunity to farm also, but TF though, he's 0-0-3, that's 3 assists. He's been a very huge help right now.
Yeah, really nice play by Invictus right there, because Shyvana, she recognized, all right, so Sona's a little bit out of position, and naturally you're going to push along this wall, trying to escape when Shyvana put the pressure down from the tri-bush, and that just actually gave Leona a really clear shot of hitting the lance. So there's, there's not any wiggle room for Sona to try and juke it or try and avoid Leona's pressure. So they're able to engage very easily there, and Balls is really struggling against PDD. He's not getting the harass that he needs to, and PDD is able to just chase him down with that cooldown reduction build, and it is very strong in lane. You get more persistent harass, with both your E and also your transfuse, and having that Hex tech early on has really helped him a lot.
Yeah, I'm wondering why Balls went for the double Dorans instead of, sometimes you'll see a lot of bruisers top lane in the face of a lot of magic damage will actually go double null magic, one of them into a Hex Drinker, the other into Merc Treads.
Yeah, and it's an interesting situation, but usually it's when someone has a lot of base damage, and Jace has decent base damage, but he really needs those early damage items. The double Dorans is, pretty standard on Jace, and I think he's just concerned if he goes for the null magic that he's not going to have enough damage to take down Vlad, because Vlad with the cooldown reduction has so much regen right now that if Jace was just auto attacking with only 60 damage for his auto attacks, then Vlad would be able to chase him down. But PDD's going for this kill, and TF porting in on Balls up top. They're going to drop him very quickly. One more auto attack would be enough to do it, but they just barely don't get it, and neither of them want to dive it, so he will be safe for a second there, going for some harass onto Vlad, but Vlad is going to pull way ahead as a result, and there's not a lot that Balls can do about it.
Taking the opportunity, though, you do have Ferus looking to grab the dragon while everyone else is distracted. Zhao is caught. Sona ult coming on down. Leona will be melting right there in the river. A little bit of little pixel noise happiness coming in from the arcade Sona at that kill. You got Ezreal going to be forced to shift out of there, but you also got Illusion there. Shyvana looking to help take that dragon. TF did drop down also, and PD still continuing the farm. Ball's actually only now recalling after the previous team fight.
He still doesn't want to. He's trying to just range farm against PDD, but PDD could come in. There is no Ignite, so it would be difficult for him to get the kill, but if he gets the EQ and then a W, I think he would have enough damage for it. Yeah. But Ezreal, that was a mission accomplished as far as he's considered, because at Mono Ferus, they were trying to negate some of that gold lead that IG has and trying to pressure the bear or the dragon, but Ezreal was able to poke them out of there and force them back even when they had a player advantage. So Mono not able to pick up that gold, and I don't know, they're still kind of at IG's whim right now.
Balls just refusing to back. He's being a little bit stubborn here, but Smithy's not too far behind. Can he get the pillar? There is the terrain. He can.
Oh,
but
wow,
there
I
is
didn't know it did that.
Wow, that is very interesting, but PD's still in trouble here. Smithy, if he can just hold on for just a little while longer, throws down the ult just now on a PD, but it will not be enough.
And you know what? That only makes sense. All of the wall abilities, I know Cataclysm and Anivia's wall do that to Vladimir, but it's just a rare situation to see a Trundle. So Trundle's pillar actually stopping Vladimir's pull is actually really interesting. And Shyvana jumping on the Mandatory Cloud. He throws off the ultimate, but the exhaust, they'll be able to chase him down fairly easily. He gets the body slam over the wall, but the crit on the E passive for the E for TF is enough to take him down. And now they can transition over to the Dragon, take this fairly easily. They do have a 2K gold advantage at 16.6 to 18.3. That's going to move up to a 3K gold advantage. And so all the lanes trying to push, Trundle and Caitlyn trying to push while they're taking it, but there's not a lot of opportunities for them.
And now there's a 4-man gang squad roaming down bot lane. Here comes TF with the ult once again, this time on Muffy for a stun, and that plus the wild cards brings them down to around half. And that's all the harass they want. They just want to show right now, they just want to show Mono who's boss at the moment. Balls on his lonesome here top lane, looking to farm just a little bit. PD is still relatively healthy, but Smithy going for the red steal while everyone is distracted down bot lane. Good notion on him.
Yeah, really smart play. They didn't really have any options to push a lot of lanes, so he's going to be able to do that. And it's interesting that Balls has stayed in this lane because he's actually he is falling behind Vladimir, but he's not falling behind in experience, which would have been killer.
Here comes Trundle.
Trundle going in for the kill, gets the pillar, gets the ignite, and as well as the red buff, they drop him very, very quickly, and that's huge for Smithy to help Balls.
He also got Zhao and Illusion getting very low. Aftermo getting the tier 1 turret and forcing back the Shyvana and Leona. Very well done, finally grabbing that. It's for a promote lane, though, that's a little bit of a late turret.
Yeah, they will be able to take that though, and that will allow them to start this, snowballing the other lanes. You know, sometimes if you're doing a lane swap with remote, you can expect an early turret, but you know, 14 minutes, it's a little slow, but it's not that bad. So we'll see how they kind of transition, and if they can take some of these other ones. Mid is close to going down, so they almost have a 3-turret advantage over IG, so that's absolutely huge. They've actually equalized the score, so 20.7 to 20.9K, despite the early advantages that IG was able to build. The pushing for Mono Ferus has given them some nice team gold to catch up.
I'm also looking right now on the build on Z-Tai, and he's got two wands.
Yeah, and that's probably just a gold thing. It's how much gold he had. Leona jumping in onto Aphromoo will be able to back out of there. And Xmithy trying to get the engage as Siobhan actually comes in, but he will have the pillar to protect them. And there's the Gragas ultimate. Very quickly they take down Illusion. So really nice play from MTW, but kind of unusual for IG because they didn't have a big opportunity there for any kills.
It was a little hasty. I think Illusion just kind of, you know, his sight was too big for his belly. He's trying to dive in. It's like, oh, sure, we can totally get Gragas here. By the way, there's still the ult, and there's still the massive amounts of damage. So unfortunately, that just did not work out. But PD is actually laying in wait here by the side brush, waiting for Mono to push up against this tower. He can just swoop on in. Is his ult up? Yes, it is. Plus the Ignite and Ghost. He's got everything to try and search out for a kill here. But it's just waiting to see if Mono actually push up. Mafakiri could. Nice. Ward in there. Very well timed. Will be catching out that Vlad, and he's going to GTFO.
Yes, they will be able to push mid. I'm a little bit surprised that they didn't push a little bit more aggressively there with how low Leona is, but they know Leona has the ultimate up still, you know, even if she is almost going down, and TF is doing a nice counter push. But Aphromoo is just sitting here and starting to get some nice poke, able to wear down PDD a little bit, wants to keep his range, but whenever PDD turns around, he gets those auto attacks, and with the pillar as well as the barrel, they drop him very quickly. And now Aphromoo, actually poke from Jace.
Give me vision for a Caitlyn ult, please. That'd be great.
Yeah, Jace almost actually had it himself, but they're going to be able to drop this tower, and they can continue to push on them. And this is kind of what we saw from CLG, where they had that point in the game where they were just looking for the relentless push and just never stop. And so they have the poke where they can just sit in this mid lane and constantly try and push on IG, and that's going to really drastically reduce IG's farm.
On the promote minion, doing work, tanking like a boss, actually tanking just enough for Illusion to find it worthy to use the smite on the promoted minion just to get it out of there. And when these pushes come on later through later into the mid game, that minion is actually going to be doing a lot more than you think it will. But in comparison to what CLG was doing yesterday, does Mono have the same 20-minute clock?
They definitely don't, because their team does scale a lot better into late game than CLG's did. They still have kind of an issue of fall off of Caitlyn, but Caitlyn is definitely very strong. And the body slam coming in on the Fulai, it will get some nice damage to zone him off. But so CLG, they went with the Urgot, and they had Jace support and then Xerath mid. Now, Xerath gave him a little bit more damage than what Mono has right now, so their early game was significantly stronger than Mono's. And Urgot also gave him initiation and also another tanky body up front, which was something they kind of lacked. They only had Trundle in that situation. But here, Mono Ferus, they have both Trundle and Jace for tanky bodies, and having the Caitlyn is significantly stronger later on for you know, pushing and also for fights than Urgot is. Caitlyn's damage is significantly stronger, but Urgot, you know, the initiation is something that CLG had that MTW or Mono Ferus, they don't have right now.
Zhao was looking for the alternate, looking for an initiation, looking for something, anything, and will still not get it. The Lance not grabbing mandatory Cloud on that one. He did have the Shirley's pop early, and still free barrels down on the Z-Tai. Here comes the Caitlyn. Ult just to front load a little bit more damage on the team. Leona being a boss, standing right in front of that bullet, and the push is still looking to continue. Barrels up into the backline. Jace with the bullets, the shots over the force wall. PD sticking around a little bit too long, forcing out the pool from range. Aphromoo, very good job there. And here comes the next wave. I think the tower might actually go down on this.
And if they had actually waited on the Caitlyn, or on the Gragas ultimate, they might have had that kill onto TF. But regardless, they're able to poke them down very effectively. They get the second turret in that mid lane. They will be able to go back, you know, buy. But if you consider it, look at the CS. IG is actually really high considering the fact that they've been sitting in mid lane this whole time. So 160 CS, 19 minutes in, that's pretty standard, or, you know, at the very least doing pretty well for themselves. But Vladimir's been sitting mid for a long time, so it's surprising that IG's been able to keep up the farm. And actually, because Mono Ferus has been looking to push that mid lane, they've all been falling behind farm. They were already a little bit behind in the lanes, but I know it's kind of the inverse of what they would like. That said, they do have almost a 2K gold advantage now. It's going to drop down a little bit because IG is in the perfect position to take this dragon, but it has worked out a little bit to bring Mono back into this game.
Yep, dragon should be a non-issue here for IG. Took to minimize the gold deficit. So it's about 2K and will only be about 1K after his dragon falls. But remember, that is 4 towers that Mono has managed to take out though in these first 20 minutes.
Yeah, so they are, getting deeper into their builds than IG are, just slightly, but it's, definitely a nice little advantage for them to have all of those turrets down, and they can also pressure the map a little bit more than IG can. If they roam around as a group, that's going to completely negate TF's teleport. He won't really be able to get anything successful as a result of that, and they can just continue pushing it on them. So I'm kind of curious how they're going to transition now, whether or not they still continue that push, or if they start split pushing a little bit like we're seeing right now.
Yeah, Balls is up there top lane. Xmithy going to join him. Illusion's not too far behind. Xmithy, do not check that bush. You're going to find a dragon, but he does throw down the pillar, keeps PD away just for a moment. Aphromoo is already back on his own side, grabbing their team's red buff. And Mandatory Cloud looking to continue to push, wandering over. He's nearby mid. Xmithy also getting the ward coverage and looking to clear a bit of coverage because as you're starting to get into mid-game, as always you have to mention it, Baron is another objective that is worthwhile to take. And the pillar, that pillar is such an amazing tool for Mono also because remember, it is one of those skills that does provide vision wherever it lands.
Yeah, and if you see, he did max the pillar first. That's the same thing that they CLG had done with Hotshot. Maxing the pillar first and getting some early CDR, like having that Shirelia's, works out very well. Xmithy actually went for the Madreds first, whereas Hotshot didn't. He actually completely skipped the Madreds. So he's a little bit behind his build from where Hotshot was, but the pillar, look at that, it just completely shuts down any sort of initiation that IG wants and allows them to poke them down. However, Xiao Xiao is coming in, trying to get that Leona engage. So Xmithy, compared with Hotshot, Hotshot skipped the Madreds, so Xmithy has a little bit faster clearing speed. He gives them a little bit more Dragon and a little bit more Baron control, but he's a little bit behind as far as that tanky build, from where Hotshot was in his game.
Actually, I'm kind of wondering why IG didn't actually go for Shroy's himself. Zitai actually down bot lane, looking to clear that turret, and he does have the ult up. He's definitely one of the best champs you can have the split push, because if there's a team fight going on, he can just teleport right on in and be an important part. Zhao caught by the Sona ult. Ezreal looking to shave off someone, will not get an illusion. Going to be leaping right into a Gragas ultimate. Aphromoo taking credit for the Shyvana kill. Zitai is in a full run away. Aphromoo, can he get a double kill for the Vlad onto Trundle, but Aphromoo will fall. Muffin Cutie in a full run away from PD, and that is a 4-for-3 exchange. That was a huge, huge blast. Just a few moments.
Yeah, and Mono Ferus, they thought they had the 4v5, and so they tried to force the fight. But Gragas, they used all of their ultimates and everything on Leona and the beginning of that fight before TF came in. So a lot of times, it's very dangerous for TF to port into the middle of a fight. Usually you need to be with your team because it's such a dangerous situation. Fulai just going straight up and tanking this turret in order to take this. He is going to get fairly low, but they will be able to pick this up, and he will back off. So they get the second turret as well. That is huge for them. So they have 3 turrets down now, compared with the 4 for Mono Ferus. But the previous fight, usually it's too dangerous for TF to port in, so you usually want to be with your team. And you saw in that situation, he ports in, they're able to focus him down. He's right in the middle of the team. However, he didn't die as fast as you would normally like when TF is porting in, because all of their ultimates were already used. Leona had, baited them out in essence, and IG was able to turn it around because of that.
Yeah, I think in the Muffin Cutie, when he did throw down the ult, it was exclusively for Leona. There's a very big choke point that they're fighting with, too. If you waited for your Shyvana ult, wait for everyone to come in, then throw off the Sona ult, you've got a lot more people. You've had a little bit more time to navigate around that fight, but that is what happens when you put yourself in one of those tight, close-quarter situations.
So we'll see how Mono Ferus will transition out of this, but another turret going down for IG. And that split pushing potential for TF is starting to take its toll. But Mono, if they can push in fast enough, TF's ult does have kind of limited range, and they will be able to get some quick damage. They could maybe try and bully down this turret a little bit, but they have to worry about the fact that Zitai, he is going for that bottom turret. He has the Sheen, so he has that quick pushing capability. And Ezreal, they're stalling very effectively. Ezreal trying to get the poke over the wall there.
Yeah, Mono's a little, their tension is very, very strained. You even see Balls, he's like considering, do I want to go top? Do I want to defend this? I'm not sure what I should be doing. Xmithy leading the charge. Also, there is a ward, there's great ward coverage still coming in from IG. There is no more oracles to be had either. It's just a matter of trying to force out everyone from where they should not be. Balls looking for a quick hammer onto Z-Type, forcing out the flash. Flash in response. Balls wants this kill. He's getting tons of damage down onto the TF, but TF with that quick burst, you can't get it. The movement speed buff coming in for Balls. Will gonna be enough? Yes, it will be. Balls getting the kill on to Z-Ty.
Yeah, and that is a huge win for Mono because they had to worry about the pressure that he was going to be putting on.
Oh,
the
nice
Caitlyn
bait.
ult. Yeah, but Zhao Zhao's able to back out of there. However, with TF down and Vladimir down in the bottom lane, they might be able to push in here, but they have to worry about the AoE from Vladimir's ultimate and Ezreal's ult, because we saw that yesterday. That was the big, folly for CLG, was that they were clumped up together, and PDD is trying to zone them off, but he's getting very low without getting any damage onto them, and this tower is so low they can maybe go for this. Vladimir almost going down. The Q from Jace, just barely not able to pick it up. However, this tower is very close to dropping, and Mono, they are in a great situation here. It's very similar to what CLG was doing, but they're actually in a better situation because they scale a little bit better into the game, and they haven't, they've been successfully dealing with the Vladimir, whereas CLG, they were all clumped up, and the Vladimir ult was just instantly crushing them.
TF is back up. Here comes the port. Will not be in range to get the yellow card to fall up right after that. He's just going to eat a barrel to the face and go down a third of health. Nick Smithy recognizing the yellow card is not back up anymore. They could take an opportunity to turn right back into IG. They're taking an opportunity. Ezreal can get the sandwich in. Illusion's also waiting for a time to get the right initiation. Zhao's ultimate is down. Not going to get that full stun that you would normally like, but still a Lance and a Q would be more than enough to get things rolling.
Yeah, and so they will back off, but if Vladimir had gone down, that might have been an inhibitor for Mono Ferus, and then, this game would be, almost over for them. But even so, with that base turret down, if they are able to pick anyone off, they're going to be able to get that and continue pressuring in. So IG, they want to continue to push out all the lanes, use TF to split push a little bit. They just need to get some early wards out. They need to get some, or not early wards, they need to get some wards out so that they can keep an eye on Mono Ferus and not allow anyone to get caught off. TF getting picked by Balls, it allowed Mono to be extremely aggressive in that mid lane because Balls made a really nice play chasing him down. So we'll see how IG continues to pressure them.
Yeah, I think also with that kill, I feel IG may be a little bit more hesitant to do the split pushing with TF, because remember, when you have someone who's very mobile like Jace, he can get that slam, and one of the things you can do to prevent TF from porting is you do some sort of hard stun, or in this case, the hammer swing will knock him back, will interrupt him. So that is the threat that Z-Type needs to deal with if he chooses once again to split push.
Yeah, and one of the nice things that Mono's been doing to counter out the pressure from IG is, they've been kiting very effectively the Vladimir. And like we said, they've been, able to push back a little bit. However, if they can force and engage with Shyvana in the middle of the team and get MT or Mono Ferus to clump up around Shyvana, then they might be able to get that perfect Vladimir ultimate, which is just going to absolutely wrecked Mono Ferus. Mono Ferus is in a good situation though, because their team, still is going to be very strong. They're not going to have any scaling issues like CLG had. Caitlyn is getting very deep into his build, or Ephraim is getting very deep into his build, so he's going to be able to get a lot of damage, particularly the single target damage onto people like Vladimir, who doesn't really want to be itemizing into armor. He does get the Zonias, but still he will go down fairly quickly to that Caitlyn pressure.
Gragas building up pretty damaging. Also, you got the DFG and the Death Cap, and Trundle going for that full utility does have the Oracles. Also got a second Kindle Gem for even more cooldown reduction. You got to keep those pillars up. Plus, also you got the Soul Shroud onto Sona, onto Muffin Cutie, so that's even more CDR on top of that. So I'm pretty sure Trundle, if not at full CDR, is very close. After move leading the charge, PDD out in front, looking for some free damage, throws down the ult a little bit prematurely. Just a little bit of damage onto some of Mono, just front-loading some of it on. It's nothing too huge to write home about, and that ult is better used off in a team fight when you actually have your teammates there to help capitalize on the increased damage.
Well, and that's one of the big strengths of having that Bloodthirster. Not only is it a good early game item, but it gives him Aphromu the regen, so when PDD does use his ultimate to get off that quick harass, he's able to back off. But they are all here as a team. They do have a really nice team. Shyvana is out of there, though, so yeah, they do have to watch out for Shyvana. And this is actually a great opportunity for Mono Ferus if they can force the fight before Shyvana gets in.
Got the pillar on the PDD, forcing the pull out of him, but it's going to take another moment, but he's managed to force out that pool. He's taking off 20% of his own health.
Shyvana's coming in from behind, though, and we saw this yesterday on Lee Sin, how they would pressure the fight from both sides.
Oh, but the Caitlyn ult will be enough to take out the Leona. Illusion dives on into all 5 members of Mono, and then immediately backs out of there, throwing breath as she runs. And there's still more minions here to get the push on. The inhibitor is very exposed. They could get it here. Is dropping very quickly, and Zhao could have been a huge help here, but unfortunately did get caught out earlier. That is an inhib down. Mission accomplished for Mono. They can back off a little bit more happy, and they have a little bit more breathing room going into these next few minutes until that inhib does respawn.
And you see how much pressure Xmithy's pillars are putting on IG, because they have all of this range damage with Jace and Caitlyn and Gragas, and then the pillars, Xmithy just never lets them engage when they want to. He's always keeping them at range, and that's the strength of Trundle, coming into this match. But that Caitlyn is working out perfectly for them. Caitlyn is getting off so much damage, so much range harass that Urgot never really had the opportunity for with CLG. They were able to get a little bit more, initiation, and Urgot was a tanky body in the middle of the team, but it was still a dangerous situation. And IG, they're trying to bait them in here. They have the oracles onto Shyvana. However, these 2 wards are catching them off. Illusion will clear out the one and then try and get the other if they can maybe force a fight.
PD waiting inside brush, but there's still a vision. Caitlyn went on someone, but it's still there. Can you get it? I can't even tell who went on. Everyone was still
It went on to Vladimir, and it did actually hit Vladimir.
Wow.
So Vladimir is very low, particularly since Jace gives them vision with the Q, and so they were able to poke him down a little bit. He will regen pretty quickly, so getting that Woda is definitely really nice for their team, and he is getting really deep into his team builds. So 270 CS for PDD, and having those aura items will really help himself and TF, but also Shyvana a little bit, since Shyvana does have a lot of magic damage. Ezreal trying to clear out that wave as it's pushing in will be fairly successful there. But, the big concern is how much kiting potential Mono Ferus has. And IG, they have kind of a short-range team, so they need to be able to force a fight, on Mono, and then find a means of just sticking on them, not allow them to disengage.
If the Spirit Visage also going to be front-loading a little bit more, little bit more health and a little bit more damage, because that is Vlad's passive, a little bit more AP. But the big benefit from that, the increased heal, which he's going to be doing so much more of on top of the spell vamp he has, on top of the extra magic pen he has. But he is getting caught out here a little bit in the top lane. Free damage coming in from balls, and Mandatory Cloud throwing in a barrel whenever he can. You got Zitai still down bot lane. He's looking to shove out that lane. He does have his ult up. He's level 17, so 16. He does have a level 3 in his ult, a little bit more range on that. But Zhao letting it wait. Xmithy clearing out the ward over by the red. The pillar will reveal the support, and the pressure is going to allow it to continue here up in the top lane. Xmithy on the side waiting for another pillar, keeping Vlad trapped on in. He's trapped in the bush for the time being. They're looking to force out the pool, and Vlad's just going to laugh in the bush, all happy like.
Yeah, but it seems that Illusion is trying to come in around them and force a fight. TF actually throws off the ultimate as well, just to get vision of them, see if they can try anything. But they will have to take care of that pressure mid, so TF actually porting into the mid lane to try and counter out that push so that they don't have to worry about much Baron or top pressure. But actually the Trundle pillar will pull off Xiao, and they can continue to poke at this top tower, and they should be able to take this fairly quickly.
Yeah, with that TF ult down, that's one less champ to deal with in a quick engage like this. Xmithy right there. You look out Ezreal with the ult. Look at his quarter wave. Had the kill time for TF to rejoin with the rest of the team. He does have the blue buff. He's going to have a little bit extra CDR. He can spam out those wild cards just a little bit more, and the ult is going to be up that much sooner. Xmithy with a nice juke there, trying to get a pillar, trying to trap Leona behind, but will not get it. And the wave is back. Let's pressure this again. Caitlyn front-loading some damage on the TF, brings him down to 2/3. Nice pillar onto him also. Can you get the damage? Can you get everything you need? Nice flash out of the way. Nice barrel. Mandatory Cloud picking up the kill on TF. And now you can get this tower a little bit more safely. It's not going to be an issue. PD rushing on in with the ult. Right now, IG's a little bit desperate, a little bit angry that they lost the tower off of that. And Vlad, right out in front, pops his Zonius. He baited it out. Here comes Illusion with the Dragon ult on to Mono, but they're juking this wonderfully. And Caitlyn on the back line with all of the damage you need. Doing great. Catching a little cupcake on the way back. PD is forced to pull out again, but turrets are still falling. You got a massive wave down bot taking down that tier 2. Mono is in a pretty good spot at the moment, and super minions even in the base.
Yeah, and IG's kind of fortunate that Mono wasn't able to chase them down and pick up any more kills there, because it's kind of surprising to me that they don't have a Shirelia's on their team. And Leona doesn't naturally, get Shirelia's in her items, but it would be a very strong item for him. And the big concern is we're watching these fights, and they can never chase down Mono Ferus. So Mono, they're able to pick off one target at a time. Caitlyn, her biggest strength is if you can focus down one target as a team. She doesn't have that AoE, so the concern with Caitlyn is if a team is able to rush you all as a group, and then when you rush as a group, when you're all clumped together, you actually get an advantage where you can focus fire people a little bit more easily, and you can try and rush them down. However, with the kiting potential that Sona gives them and Muffin Cutie gives Mono, there's nothing of the same regards for IG. They have both Sona and Jace, and they have no chasing power from IG. They have, TF, he has some movement speed. Yes, Ezreal is pretty fast too, but they really need that Shirelia's in order to keep in range, because Mono is just kiting them, and they just can't do anything against it.
You'll also notice at the end of that last fight too, Ezreal sent down the True Shot Barrage over across Baron, and that should be a telltale sign to Mono how little vision IG actually has near the Baron area. You see her Zhao getting caught out behind the Gragas Barrel, giving her behind, and Muffin Cutie grabbing that one. That's the risk you take when you need to place a ward and you're a little bit out of position, you're a little bit pushed back, and you cannot aggress like you normally would have during most parts of the game. With the support down, that's a little bit less initiation that IG has. And instead of, they could opt to go for the Baron, but the inhibitor, did it respawn? I think it did. Is it back up? Yes, it is. So Mono needs to take that thing out before they can even consider going back near the Baron. But you do have Vlad and Shyvana looking for the pinch. Xmithie is there with the pillar, keeping Vlad a little bit slowed. You got the Dragon Form coming in from Illusion, and the Ezreal ult looking to front though, a little bit more damage. Mandatory Cloud got very low, but TF, will you be using the ult here? It doesn't look very safe to me. But hey, tier 3 in bot is open and vulnerable. They've been pushed to the side. They might as well take the objective. Nice kill on that, and Poke going down all the way, but nice Leona ult onto most of the members of Mono, and that is the cue to go in. Nice barrel. It is back up once again, but Caitlyn does go down. PD getting that kill. Triple kill for the Vlad. Can he continue on any more of this? Xmithie has been forced back. You got to hold on to that Oracles. Nice engage by IG.
Yeah, and PDD was able to come in, flank them from the side, so he's able to get into the middle of the team, and they were able to, force the Leona ultimate and get that initiation. So they were able to chase them down.
Good Leona ult.
But that was an incredible fight, and that just shows how strong IG can be if they can group up for the fight. Z-Tai actually coming in for Balls. He doesn't have vision, so Balls actually will be able to burst him very quickly,
wow.
and he's very close. He does get the Q off, the Ignite going off, so they will
Ah.
trade there. However, the rest of IG is in a position to take this Baron, and they are moving up. Trundle could maybe steal it, but the rest of his team is not there. And if he goes in and dies, then he's going to put their team at a really big disadvantage.
But if he manages to get in and steal, though, that would be huge. The pillar will be given a little bit of vision, forces Ezreal out of the pit, but the rest of the team, it's no big deal. Xmithie, you may go down. Here comes the Ezreal. Nice juke on that, but the Ignite may be more than enough. No, but there's still a ward in the bush, still being pursued. There's a Baron buff. You got this shift coming on over, but no, will not be enough. That torment, that soil will not help you there, Trundle. Ezreal getting that kill, and now IG has the Baron buff. TF doesn't have it, but that's okay. But you will still have to play defense mode for just a few more moments.
Yeah, really great turnaround from IG, and they're able to win the one fight because they have such a strong team fight team if they can force the engage. But then going for the fast Baron, and it was kind of almost to a desperation situation where they had to just desperately try and chase down Mono. If they had lost that previous fight, the game would basically be over because Mono would be able to take another inhibitor, and they would have 2 inhibitors down, and that would just be so devastating for IG. But IG was able to bring it back with the aggressive play, and at this point, if as long as they can continue to get those Leona ultimates, if they can hit a couple of members of Mono with those Leona ultimates, they're going to be very strong. However, Mono does have the movement speed advantage, and as long as they split up in the lanes, they can just create a little arc and just stay away from that Leona ultimate. They will still be very strong.
Yeah, I think both teams are now realizing how vital Leona is for swaying the game into either direction, and we've seen Leona been picked off earlier by Mono, and the fates that followed afterwards worked out very well for him. But you saw there, Leona did respawn back there in the bot lane, came on in. The ultimate was beautiful, and IG just needs to protect her until that ultimate comes out and hits where it needs to hit.
But every second that this game continues on is a second in favor of IG because they've already been out farming Mono. They have an 8k gold advantage despite the fact that Mono has taken almost their entire base. So they've lost, 2 base turrets. They have lost all of their outer turrets, but they're still ahead in gold and significantly stronger in fights. They can force them back. Leona did take some damage, so that weakens their position. They won't be able to, push underneath those turrets fairly easily. However, we'll see if they can, maybe transition to another lane or use that TF split push at this point, because they're almost strong enough that they feel comfortable with farming or with fighting with just Leona, Shyvana, Ezreal, and Vladimir. So they might not even need TF to fight, and they could just let him leave him to his own devices.
Yeah, but you've seen what happens before though when TF is left off to his own to split push.
Yeah.
You can get Jace to just wander on down, grab that kill. But even that you see this less engaged, you see Leona taking a barrel, taking a few shots, and IG immediately backs off. It's like we're not, Leona's not healthy enough to get on into his game. It's like, you gotta protect the princess here to get the engage you want to get that ultimate.
Yeah, so that pressure off on the side, if balls can counter out TF's push, that could definitely help them out a lot. But you see Soul Shroud for Mono, and that's actually, they had the same thing on CLG, except it was on Hotshot, on Trundle. And that Soul Shroud, gives you cooldown reduction, gives you mana regen as a team, which works very well with their, kiting and poking capabilities. They're trying to wear people down. So the team cooldown reduction is huge, particularly since, people like Jace, they still want to itemize into damage. They don't want to itemize into cooldown reduction. So, we'll see how that factors in. But all of Invictus is getting really deep into their builds. Vladimir, he's done with his build. It's just a matter of whether or not he wants to upgrade it.
Look at TF
as
dude.
well.
He's got that Lichbane too, which as you're heading into the late game is a huge item to have. TF, he'll pour it on in Lichbane proc plus DFG on that's excessive. Way too excessive damage for one TF to have.
The Lichbane split push is just unbelievably powerful. That's going to be very difficult for Mono to deal with if Mono can hold off. Just waiting for a couple of members to get back in. But, if IG is strong enough, if they feel they are strong enough to fight Mono 4v5 without TF, then the factor of him going into another lane could be the killing blow for Mono, where they could just turn this around and keep pushing into him. That said, one fight for Mono, and this is going to be almost game. They will be able to walk up and get 2 inhibitors most likely. And they can use, again, that initiation advantage and, disengage that they have with both Sona and Trundle to try and wear down Invictus a little bit before they actually fight.
And also a nice reminder on what a Lichbane TF is capable of. We look back to a Wild Turtle at Face-Off. He was actually just able to backdoor the entire enemy base with those Lichbane procs. So if the opportunity does arise where there's just a straight on path into the Nexus, Itai can just port on in, get a few procs, and just take the game straight out.
Yeah, that is kind of a threat, though. In that situation, they were able to get the turrets down first.
Yeah.
So, if IG can pick up a couple of these turrets, then the TF pressure will just be, vastly, amplified. It will just be so difficult for them to deal with. However, with the turrets up, TF has a little bit too little armor in order to pressure them. So, we'll see what they can do, but I feel like the hard engage from Mono, that's kind of a difficult situation for them. They usually want to just rush on top of TF and just bully him out of the fight or just burst him down very quickly. Mono doesn't really have that potential, so TF is going to be able to get his nice poke and be really slow and steady with fights, and that's usually when TF is at his best. But we'll see if Mono can try and wear them down some. This Baron regen is going to be really difficult for them to eat through, though, because Baron regen is one of the best counters to a poke team. That and hard initiation.
Yep, and we mentioned before about the Leona too, and also I also gotta appreciate the timing on illusion on most of these team fights. It's a delayed entrance too, like right when you think the fight's actually going to be over, here comes the dragon to extend it a little bit further. The pressure with the Baron buff and the push is a bit too much. Top tier 2 going to be going on down to Jace with some free harass over the base wall. Zhao actually taking a third health of a chunk out there. PD forced to pull out. Thanks with the lean charge, he wants those pillars, all that CDR on him. He's able to spam those things pretty often, and he's doing what he can to delay this push. How much time do we have left?
I just want to check. It's actually a 6-second cooldown on the Trundle pillar. So it's very, very short.
Getting caught out there. That nice ward. You got the Jace shot going over the wall also. But Caitlyn not using the ult quite yet. But here we go. Here's that backdoor. Z-Tai, he's made his presence known in bot lane. And with those Witchbane procs, tier 2 in bot will go down very quickly.
Yeah, and they don't really have a good means of forcing a fight onto Vladimir because of how strong he is. Balls is trying to counter it out some. Will try and clear that wave, but that tower is going to drop very quickly. So they have all of the outer turrets, and now it is a 10k gold lead for Invictus. And all of a sudden, you know, this game has pulled away from Mono really quickly. And it started with Invictus just keeping up their farm very successfully while Mono was still pushing. And then they were able to win one fight, and the result of that one fight was the Baron that has led to Invictus being in control of this game.
See, how much time do we have left on the Baron buff? It shouldn't be anything too terribly long. There it goes. It just went now. So 43 minutes flat is when that Baron will actually respawn. Z-Tai still in the bot lane, dueling it off with balls. He's like, no, come on, let me just get a hit. Just one hit on that turret, please. Thank you. Trying with the wild cards, but Ball's looking to this way as much. But here's the thing, though. There's that harass coming from Jace. That is the threat that that TF does have to deal with. 1, 2, 3 of those could mean death for him, and we saw that that duel they had over by tier 2 and enemy side earlier.
And it's interesting, the team for Ferus is, for Invictus is actually sitting in between both mid and bot because they want to be able to transition either to mid or to bot, depending on the situation. And Balls actually does go down. Z-Tai was able to burst him down, so just the quick damage with the DFG is able to win it for him. But they're Vladimir's pushing mid and TF's bot, and the rest of the team is, you know, everywhere in between. And they don't have enough damage to wear down Vladimir. And he actually is kind of caught off, walks off into a Caitlyn trap, but they are all very low. They dodge the Ezreal ult, but the Vladimir ult has done a significant damage toll, and they will be able to push in and take potentially both mid and bot turrets.
There's bot tier 3 gone. Mid tier 3 is going to go down shortly. Both of those inhibitors are exposed. Xmithy doing what he can to delay for another massive 30 seconds until Jace even comes back. Xmithy getting very low, but Z-Tai, will he go down here? Aftermoo with the flash manages to get the last auto tech, but the Gragas barrel unfortunately has been wasted in that engage. He wish he could have that thing right now. Aftermoo still looking for free damage. Illusion getting ballsy, wants to kill an inhib, does manage to get it, but Aftermoo in full retreat throws down the net onto Ezreal. He is slowed, does still have the red buff. He can get some harass pretty well on his own while pressuring here on the Nexus turrets. IG, they got what they wanted. They got their 2 inhibs, and they're going to be backing off.
Yeah, and IG, they, you know, I was talking about the movement speed and the need for it earlier on, but they haven't needed it at all. So, you know, completely taking that back, they've just been making themselves strong enough where Mono can't even get in range of IG because IG wins the matchups, and you know, so they're just bullying them around. They're able to win those, you know, fights. Vladimir is so strong at 390 CS that he can just beat the entire team of Mono Ferus almost by himself, and then TF has the burst damage for that single target, and he has, you know, some nice movement speed on his own. And now with those 2 inhibitors down, it will be very difficult for Mono to hold off. They do have some nice wave clearing capabilities, but it's just the game is past them almost because the Caitlyn does drop off a little bit, and you know, it's going to be so difficult to defend against that TF split push with 2 inhibitors down. Yeah,
well, we talked yesterday. CLG Prime, they had their 20-minute team. And we said before that Mono had a little bit longer time with that, so I'd like to call this a 30-minute team because they did have their opportunity to push a little bit further when they had the mid inhibitor down, but unfortunately just couldn't get anything more off of that advantage.
Yeah, though Mono, they still have a team that has the potential to win, you know, late because of the AD damage that both Caitlyn and Jace bring to the team. It's just they're really struggling right now. Caitlyn just doesn't have enough damage to take out Vladimir, and Invictus is pressuring them so significantly, and they are trying to run up and see if they can get some vision here. They drop the wards over the wall, and Illusion will be able to drop that very quickly. But IG, they can pressure both the Baron and the base with both TF and also the super minions.
Z-Tai actually assisting with the push onto the Baron instead of going for the split push. Well, then again, there's also not many options because most has already been taken out. But look at the 1v1. Aftermoo may actually get it to cleanse, but Aftermoo actually able to single out TF Illusion with Dragon Form. He's going to be on the tail end of that Sona ult, keep everyone stunned in that bush, but Ball's out in front. We're going to get some hammer swings, keep everyone away. There's the Caitlyn ult coming on, and nice kill onto the Leona, and Ball's Israel's a little bit too out in front. The shutdown coming in from Sona. PD is too far behind. Illusion's looking to just get out of there, and this is a huge opportunity. The ping's going down onto the Nexus. You do have the top, you have super minions in the base looking to take out those turrets. Someone from Mono needs to get home to defend that push, and Xmithy's still looking for kills here on the PD. There's an opportunity for Mono to take down those inhibitors, but they're not taking it right now.
PDD is stalling them out, and Mono originally pinged off to go for the Nexus, but Vladimir is just too strong. They can't chase him down to pick up the kill, and they can't force the fight there, so they're very close to losing their last inhibitor, and the Nexus is almost going down as well. They have 2 people defending while they will be able to get the inhibitor mid, but it's just not going to be enough for Mono, so they do pause for a second here. I'm going to go back just so you can see the full situation that they're in, because they are trying to pressure up the base, for the speed up's not working, but they're trying to pressure the base for Invictus Gaming, but it's 2 inhibitors down, and Vladimir can single-handedly hold them off. So Vladimir is strong enough where he's able to 1v2 these guys, and then the top inhibitor, that's close to going down, so they're almost losing 3 inhibitors. But Mandatory Cloud and Aphromu, while they're trying to take the inhibitor, they're not going to have anywhere near enough damage to take out the full base in the very short period of time that they have left. It's going to be tough for them to even take out that second inhibitor. They might only get 1 inhibitor, and if that's the case, then IG is still going to be in a serious position of strength here.
Yeah. If they can manage to get 1, if they can kill just a few minutes for the remaining 2 in the base to come back up, but there's still the worry if everyone back home can clear out the wave to save the inhibitor up top. Balls like Smithy and Muffin Curie here in the base just trying to deal with PD. You got Aphromu grabbing the mid inhibitor, and they're just getting the hell out of there. Shoy is being popped. PD's in a bit of a sticky situation. Balls with the damage. The pool being forced out. He does still have that blue buff, but Muffin Curie looking for more harass coming on in, getting the boost you need. PD, the Zonia's being popped. Will be enough coming on in, but here comes Caitlyn to help save the day, but manages to get out of that ultimate in the pool, but the shutdown coming in from Muffin Cutie does a lot of effort. But here comes Ezreal ult straight down the middle. Will anyone be in the way? It doesn't look at Muffin Cutie. Is he very... Oh, no! I thought Muffin Cutie was going to die.
They have lost 3 inhibitors now, and the 3rd inhibitor going down to the minions while Vladimir was forcing the mid. So Vladimir did go down, but he stalled for so incredibly long. The Zonias as well, the pool, the block, the Caitlyn ultimate, and now IG, they have the Baron easily. There is nothing that Mono can do about it to try and stop this Baron, so they're going to be able to pick that up. And with 3 inhibitors down, it's going to be near impossible for Mono to pressure them once again.
Yeah.
Mono had a really nice fight. They were able to, Caitlyn in particular, beating TF. Zitai was off on the side, thought he could 1v1 Caitlyn, and that was the start of the turning point for the fight, because they lost on the TF damage, but they weren't able to get in on Caitlyn, so Caitlyn was able to kite them and heal back up with the Bloodthirster, and they were able to, win that fight. But now with both Nexus turrets, actually the 1 Nexus turret is almost down, so only 1 Nexus turret remaining, 3 inhibitors down. Mono is really in a desperate situation.
If Mono can somehow get an ace with the 1 tower remaining, there's a chance they can do something. But enough time has been killed. Vlad is back up. Jace is also up. And TF with those Lichbane procs, if he's just distracted, they can get out to 1 tower. TF could just ignore everyone, get the Lichbane procs, and just take out the Nexus on his own while everyone else is being a good distraction. But the mid inhibitor's back up, the bot inhibitor's back up. It's just a matter of the top one. There are still a few waves of super minions still pushing on into the base. IG can use those to their advantage to take the inhibitors back out. There's only 1 tower remaining in Mono's base. If they want to fight at it, they have to let all the inhibs go.
Yeah, but the minions will help counter that out some, since they have the super minion in the mid lane, and they will try and get some damage onto Vladimir. PDD getting kind of low, and they're actually trying to force this potentially, but he will back off, just getting off that quick trundle pillar. But Mono, they're at a point where they can never get out, move outside of their base. Unless they know that they've won a fight, and unless they know TF is dead. This bot inhibitor, they have to defend that, but that's actually opening up an opportunity for IG to move in if they come in aggressively. So they can't leave their base unless they know TF is dead, because otherwise, like we said earlier, he's going to be able to come in and backdoor very easily and just take inhibitors, take the Nexus by himself. He's walking up trying to see if he can poke in at the inhibitor, and they are pressuring multiple sides of Mono's base.
Mono is clumped up. That could be huge for Leono coming on in. Looking for the stun. Leono does not get anybody. She still has trouble in the base. Here comes the TF ult. Caitlyn not going to be able to get that. Well, actually, no, the Ignite will go down. No, will not get an Illusion in the mid, taking out that inhibitor. PD is pulled, does have Ignite still on him, but Balls, does he have enough damage? Dazonia's Hourglass coming in once again, but will not save him. Aftermoon getting the kill onto the Vladimir. Bot inhibitor will be going down once again. Zitai in retreat. Illusion, they're happy with what they got. All the inhibitors are back down. Go back, heal up, try again.
And so they have 3 fresh inhibitors. So those inhibitors, they're going to be up for quite some time, and the minion waves pushing in from them are going to be so devastating. But you see how much pressure PDD is able to put on their team, and because they don't have a hard engaged team, or because Mono doesn't have a hard engaged team, they have a poke team. They're not able to, kill Vladimir anywhere near as quickly as they would hope to, and Vladimir is able to single-handedly stall them off. PDD has been such a hero this game. He's been able to hold off Mono, and as a result, IG has been able to push back from a near loss and bring this into a potential win column here.
There's still another less than a minute on this Baron buff, so it's going to be a little bit easier for Mono to push back on this. But you do have Ezreal with the Guardian Angel. Yaphromu has the cloak, looking to get into the Quicksilver Sash to try and reduce some of the stun's damage coming on in, because Yaphromu is a very huge part of a potential comeback here for Mono, if one is going to happen. Where is TF going to be porting? He's going down bot lane. Look at all the damage on Afromu, Muffin Cutie with the sun, but still, Afromu lives on that one. Wow.
Yeah, Muffin Cutie helping him out there. The Ezreal ult, it's very close to hitting. Oh, just barely not nicking Afromu. So he will back off.
Wow.
And kind of surprising play from Invictus, because TF knows that he's strong enough to burst down Afromu on his own, but Muffin Cutie was there. He saw he was there, and he ported into his Sona ultimate. And when you consider how strong PDD has been in these fights, you kind of have to think that Invictus could just slowly bully their way into Mono's base and just slowly push in, get all of the minions pushing up against the inhibitor, get them all to push up against the Nexus and slowly take the Nexus. But that death from Zitai, it completely stalls out what IG is trying to do, and it gives Mono another opportunity to regroup and slowly hold off. That's actually going to be long enough. Before TF gets back, this top inhibitor has respawned because of it, and both the mid and the bottom inhibitors are going to be very close to respawning as well.
To be fair though, if Zitai did get that kill, that probably would have been game.
Yes, it would have been.
It would have been game, but that did give Caitlyn enough gold. Aftermoon now actually built itemizing into the Banshee's Veil. Also good choice. You want to resist that first stun. You want to make sure you're safe there on the back line. That will allow you to do it. The Baron buff did go away, so look at about 2-3 more minutes until that buff comes back in. Ezreal still with that Guardian Angel proc. He hasn't. That dude has not died very often in this match at all. But in case he does, he will be coming back with it. But there's still super minions pushing on into the base. The mid inhib on IG side did actually respawn, so there is no counter push for Mono for quite a while.
Yeah, so Invictus, this is their opportunity with all of their team there. They can slowly push in, get that top inhibitor. Fulai taking a little bit of damage, and Afromu is just holding off as much as he can. PDD is split from his team though. Afromu can get some quick damage, but he is able to back off, so he will be fairly safe there. And Afromu does have that Banshees to protect him against Leona, but if they just move in very slowly, that bot is going to push in on them. The bot and the mid super minions. They have to keep PDD alive though.
Ultimate from Trundle going down onto PD, forcing out the Ghost. Not quite sure where he's going. The bot inhibitor's already gone, dude. He's just looking to clear off some distance, but Ezreal with the poke down onto inhib almost has it down. Zhao getting caught. Illusion swooping on in, grabbing that one. The mid Nexus turret is open. PD looking for the pinch. Ezreal coming on in, looking to clear some of the minions. You got the TF ult coming on into. Is he porting in anywhere? It does not seem to be. You got so much damage going down on to Mandatory Cloud, but the Sona ult looking to keep Vladimir still, but that is a Gragas down. That is a Vladimir down, full 4-on-4 fight. Still looking to continue. Illusion getting chunked out big time. Caitlyn, Afromu taking out that kill. Zhao in a moment of desperation with the lance coming on in. This could be a huge turnaround. Xmithy going on down. On it to Ezreal. He will revive.
Hit the GA over the wall.
The wall, Afromu, if he can get the damage. The Caitlyn trap, keeping him still. Can he get it? No. Full eye. Can he kill the Xmithy? Xmithy, where's the damage? It's not
he's
happening.
Kiting him. He has him.
Oh, wow.
And Fulai with the kill there, it looked like Mono was going to maybe be able to turn this around. They were looking for the kills to, bring themselves back in. I'm a little bit surprised that Ezreal's not, poking at balls here, but he knows he could die very, very quickly.
He had 200 health and regened it all. And he just killed like a practical full life
It's the
Trundle.
regen. The Bloodthirster is just too strong, and Balls is trying to hold off, but it's just not enough right now. Balls is doing everything he can desperately, but it's slowly pushing in, and he still has a significant period of time before the rest of his team is coming. This Nexus turret is very close to falling. They do get another inhibitor up, but unfortunately, because Balls is the only one defending, both of these inhibitors will actually go down.
Mandatory
There's the
cloud.
Ezreal ultimate trying to clear out some distance. The Nexus turret is going to fall, and the both inhibitors will as well. So they lose 3 inhibitors. The bot one is the last one remaining. If they can defend that, that would be huge. And Mono could maybe hold off. But is Ezreal, is he going for Baron single-handedly? Fulai has it.
What a man up.
This is why he could 1v1 Trundle. Do you think Trundle compares with Baron?
What?
No, he's going to go down. Fulai's killing himself. The Baron, it kills him.
No.
He killed himself on the Baron. That sucks.
Dude, this is a huge opportunity for Mono, though. They can sit back, they can defend a little while.
I mean, how much
look at the death timer. That's 70 seconds plus.
How much of an opportunity do you really have when you have 2 Nexus turrets down, though?
We've seen bigger comebacks.
We have seen bigger, but right now, IG, they are pushing in for the Baron. They will be able to grab this. This game, should have been over. Or could have almost been over
half hour ago.
10 minutes ago for IG. I mean, they were in the base, had the Nexus turrets down for so long, and just haven't been able to quite finish it off against Mono. Mono, they've been playing beautifully since then, poking out IG, been able to get off, just some nice range damage. That last fight, if Ezreal hadn't picked up those remaining kills, that would have been huge for Mono.
But look at Mono though, with all the gold that they made on those fights. 2 Guardian Angels instantly bought on Trundle and on Jace. That could be huge going to these fights because Ezreal did burn the extra life that he had on his, and there are no other GAs right now onto IG. If they can kill enough time, if they can just keep them away from the Nexus, they may still have a chance.
Yeah,
wow.
No, they definitely, if they can keep holding off, but they need to win like 3 more fights before they're going to be able to take this game, because they need at least 2 fights in order to get all of these inhibitors back up, and hopefully IG's not having too many problems, but that is the difficulty with playing this is an NA tournament, NA qualifiers, so NA server, but Mono, if they can win 2 fights, that'll be about enough in order to get their inhibitors back up. 1 fight will actually be enough to get the inhibitor back up. The second fight is to start slowly pushing out of your base, because even if Mono is able to win every fight from here until the rest of time, TF, they have to worry about the fact that if TF is still alive and Mono leaves the base, TF will be able to beat them in a base race single-handedly. Single-handedly, TF will be able to jump in, kill their entire, kill an inhibitor and the Nexus before Mono can, if they leave the base, which means that Mono has to sit in their base. They have to force IG to fight, and IG is still in the driver's seat, despite the fact that Mono has been able to come back.
And I mentioned this before. This is exactly what Wild Turtle did at IPL Faceoff. He had the Lich Bane, he had all the procs, waited for everyone to leave the base, took out an inhib. The Nexus turrets were already gone. Just swooped on in and took it. But if you can manage to ace him, the respawn timers are long enough to a point where it's in excess of a minute. You saw that timer on Ezreal when he died to Baron. That was 70 seconds plus before he actually came back into his fight. And if enough of Mono is healthy after a fight, they could make still play, but they have to defend against this Baron buff push first.
Particularly with as much armor as they have now. So now that they have those Gs and those armor items, that'll allow them to tank the Nexus turrets a little bit more easily. So if they have Caitlyn and 1 more member, they can probably try and take the base. The only issue is they are pushed back so far that it's going to take them 40 seconds to walk into the enemy base, which means that they don't have much time even when they win a fight. And slowly, this is what IG has been needing to do for such a long period of time. They are slowly pushing MTW or Mono Ferus back into that Nexus. They get some quick damage on Z-Tide, though. The Caitlyn ultimate, it will be blocked by Xiao Xiao. However, he is fairly low, and they are just slowly trying to wear them down.
Ghost coming in from Vlad. He wants the initiation. Vlad going on in. Illusion Dragon Farm. And look at Ezreal just focusing only the Nexus. That's what you needed to do. Great fight. Fantastic effing match. And that's only game 1. IG taking the first game. There's still a chance for Mono Ferus here. But as terms of entertainment factor, I absolutely blown away.
Yeah, it was really impressive play from both teams, but IG finally, cracking to it. They recognized that Mono didn't have enough damage to, take them head on, and so they just rushed in, took down the Nexus very easily while all 3 inhibitors were down, and they'd slowly been pushing in for a while. They finally had the Nexus turret down, and that was, the straw that broke the camel's back. But really nice play, overall from both teams. Aframu was a beast, but he couldn't stand up to PDD, and 8-4-3 is deceptive of how much pressure PDD put on Mono, because he had 456 creeps, mandatory cloud at 435 at that point in the game, but he had it all early on, and he was holding off Mono almost single-handedly.
But man, Aframu though, being an absolute boss when he could. I mean, that was if there was a potential for a turnaround, it was within him. Itemized very well, the positioning, able to 1v1